please on the stage our final storyteller, Joe Charnitski, everybody.
So I was going through my father's belongings a few days after he died, and I found a collection of birthday cards and Father's Day cards and letters from college that I had sent and he had saved. And it was kind of comforting to read the words I had written over the years because I had been feeling a little bit regretful that we didn't have a big talk before he died. You know, where I pass all my gratitude to him and he shares all his wisdom with me. He had been diagnosed with late-stage kidney cancer just a few months earlier. And we had 3 months, and we just never did it. We never had that talk. So one of the cards I found had a picture on the front of a little boy, 8 or 9 years old, staring out at a Major League Baseball field. And this just sets me down memory lane immediately. I start thinking about Father and Son Night. Now, Father and Son Night, as the name implies, was an evening where my dad and I would go and do something together, just the two of us when I was a kid. And it ended the same every time. Driving home, I'd be in the passenger seat, fighting off sleep, and my dad would be driving, and he'd turn on the radio, and there'd be a baseball game. And it would be that lo-fi AM staticky, like, bottom of the fourth, and the Phillies are trailing, coming to the plate, Mike Schmidt, that kind of thing. And I still find something soothing, to tell you the truth, about that kind of AM radio broadcast. Now, the main event of Father and Son Night could be anything. We might go to a movie. I saw Return of the Jedi on a Father and Son Night. I saw Superman 3, the one with Richard Pryor. I convinced my dad to take me to see Adventures in Babysitting on a Father and Son Night because I had a real crush on Elizabeth Shue. I don't think I told him that part, but that was, after the Karate Kid, who didn't, right? As I got a little bit older, there was a new option for Father and Son Night, the racetrack, because there was a horse racing track near where I grew up in Pennsylvania, and they had restaurants and an arcade and, of course, the races. So my dad would take me there, and if I wanted to make a bet, he had to go to the window and place it for me, but I got to pick the horses, and if I won, he would just be beaming with pride. Although, to be fair, he was always beaming with pride when it came to me. I didn't have to do very much. He was one of those dads. I wish I could call him tonight and say, "Dad, I performed at the Moth, and I told a story about us." And he would have said, "Oh, son, that's great. I'm so proud of you. What's the Moth?" Our last Father and Son Night came that summer he died. He turned to me one day and said, "What do you say? We have a Father and Son Night tonight." Now, I was 28 by this point. I had lived 3 hours away in New York City for 10 years. It had been a long time since we had a Father and Son Night. But of course I said, "Sure, what do you have in mind?" And he said, "Let's go to the racetrack." So we went to the racetrack. Now, I had to do the driving by now because he had been through a lot of treatment for his cancer and was pretty thin and kind of frail. And he couldn't have gone back and forth to the ticket window all night, so I placed the bets for him, but he got to pick the horses. And I think he won a few, if I remember. And on the drive home, it was my father who was fighting off sleep in the passenger seat, and I was behind the wheel getting him safely home. And it took me a few minutes to even realize this was happening, but I had the radio on. And yes, that's true, there was a baseball game. Bottom of the fourth. Phillies are trailing. The Phillies are always trailing in these stories. And I looked over to my dad to see, was he getting this? That we were having this like time warp, role reversal, Freaky Friday situation going on? And I don't think he did, but it's okay, because I did. And I'm so grateful for that night. We had a great time, and I'm grateful for all of our nights. I would like more of them, for sure. He was only 65 when he died, and there's all this stuff I won't get to do, and these phone calls I haven't been able to make, like the, "Hey, Dad, I got that job I told you about," or, "Hey, Dad, I got a promotion," or, "Hey, Dad, I met this girl, and I think I'm going to bring her home to meet everybody," or, "Hey, Dad, I bought a ring, I think I'm going to ask him to marry me," or, "Hey, Dad, we bought a house, I can't wait for you to come visit." I never got those phone calls. But I got to sit in his bedroom a few days after he died and read all these cards and all these letters that he had saved and he clearly cherished. And I got this blessing of knowledge that we didn't need a big talk at the end of his life. He knew I was grateful. I spent my whole life telling him. And he gave me wisdom every day by his example. There was nothing else for him to tell me. And I hope I will have that experience with every relationship, with every person I love, that I'll be able to look back and see all of the mementos we've saved and think of all the time we've shared. And I'll know that we made it count when we had the chance, because you only get the time you get. And that was the last of many lessons I learned from my dad. Thanks.
Joe Charnitski, everybody.